on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Yeah, you, right. Crescent City and beyond. Choo-choo. The bird goes the dynamite. Corey Johnson back at you. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Let's bring number 9 out of retirement. Here's Drew Brees. Thank you, Mr. Brees, Mr. Drew Brees. Corey Johnson back at you. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. Got a good one lined up for you. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Fletcher Mackel can't join us today. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? I'm joking. I love getting Fletch on. I wouldn't get Fletch on the program if I didn't love getting Fletch on the program because he's a quality guest. Knows New Orleans, likes to talk New Orleans food, yaddy, talkative guy like me. Knows, his profession, sports, really, really well. Not scared to give an opinion. So, no, I like those kind of guys. I like getting Fletcher Mackel on. He's legit. Sports anchor, sports reporter, sports director, blogger, does it all at Channel 6 WDSU. But Fletch will not be joining us this afternoon. No Fridays with Fletch. We'll hook up with him next Friday. No Fridays with Fletch. And in the 5 o'clock power hour, we will hook up with Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. We do that every Friday. Michael Hecht, Greater New Orleans Inc. Super Bowl countdown, like 60-something days out? That big meta announcement in North Louisiana. New Orleans getting a few dozen jobs, some AI jobs. Michael will fill us in on that. That's in the 5 o'clock power hour. Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. in an hour. But not only no Fletcher Mackel, no Frank Brightson. They're slammed tonight at the restaurant. Frank was like, man, really like to take the night off and get working early. I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course. Of course. So Frank will join us next Friday. No Frank Brightson, no Fletcher Mackel. It's almost like it's not a Fantasy Friday. Get rid of all the Fs. No fantasy, no Friday, no Fletcher, no Frank. What the? Why It is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Michael Hecht coming your way in the 5 o'clock power hour. Hey, best quality, best price, best selection. Get your weekend started right. Head into Rouse's Markets, one of many. They're 65 plus from Lake Charles to Mobile, Alabama. 65 plus Rouses. About 1/3 of all Rouses are in Metro New Orleans. So you're heading home from work right now. Heading home from work. You're going to pass, 2 or 3 Rouses maybe? Pull on in. Take care of business, not only for tonight, for tomorrow, the whole weekend. Heading into next week, they've got everything you need. The local products you love, regional stuff, national, international stuff, Rouse's labeled items, the Rouse's brand. Gotta love that stuff. Super high quality, about half the price. Quality, selection, price, convenience, tastes like home. Rouse's Markets on the way home. Check them out. It is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. This week it wasn't like it was some kind of bomb drop, but it was official. It made it official. Helena Moreno, New Orleans City Council president, will be running for mayor in next October, 11 months away, next October's election. Running for mayor. In the next 3 or 4 weeks, Oliver Thomas expected to throw his hat into the ring. So it looks like an Oliver Thomas, Helena Moreno race. Maybe some wild card will pop in there. Maybe somebody like Arthur Hunter, the judge, or State Senator Royce DePlessis not only get in the race, but do something to catch and even surpass Oliver Thomas and Helena Moreno in name recognition in New Orleans, just who they are, what people know about them, what they expect when they see them on camera, any of that stuff. So will that be the case? Oliver Thomas expected to jump into the race. Will Royce DePlessis get in the race? Will some other wild card candidate get in the race? Judge Arthur Hunter, will they be able to make waves to catch up to Oliver Thomas, Helena Moreno? What about a Republican? What about a Republican candidate? Mobile, Alabama, it's like 4 or 5 terms in a row now. A white conservative Republican is mayor in that majority black city of Mobile, Alabama. And the black community apparently loves this guy. Baton Rouge just elected a white conservative male as mayor president of Baton Rouge. The black female incumbent did not win in Baton Rouge, a majority black city. No, a lot of black folks, I think President Trump got 1 out of 4 black male votes. 1 out of 4 black male votes. 1 out of 4. No, a lot of black folks are just like, we're not locked into the Democrat Party. And impossible for us to vote Republican. And then when it's like, what has the Democrat Party done? I mean, in general, what has the Republican Democrat Party done? And then when you apply it to a specific race, sex, creed, religion, I mean, politics aren't the most efficient, get things done type of environment. So, no, there's a lot of disappointment in the black community with the Democrat Party. And obviously a lot of black folks voted for Trump. So a lot of black folks are abandoning the Democrat Party. It's not just an automatic. We got the black vote. Don't have to worry about them. They're not voting Republican. Oh, yeah, they are. I don't want to sit here and go, boy, Democrat or Republicans better. I don't believe that. You hear a lot of Republicans, look at all the cities. They're all run by Democrats. The cities are crap. Look at the areas that are the Republican states. They're doing well. There's crossover on both of those things. You can find examples of Democrats doing well, Republicans doing poorly. A very large political generalization, those kind of thoughts and comments. So I'm not one that's sitting here going, hey, New Orleans needs a Republican mayor and it solves all problems. It might. But I clearly am one saying, boy, New Orleans, a dysfunctional city politically, just broken politically for decades, inept, never moving the needle, never going forward like the state of Louisiana. New Orleans is the city in the state that follows the state's lead. But instead of being Republican-led, it's Democrat-led. But unlike Louisiana, which just came off of 2 straight terms of a Democrat governor, the red state elected a moderate Democrat, a blue dog Democrat, not once but twice as governor. New Orleans has no conservatives or Republicans anywhere in New Orleans city government. I don't know if there's like an appointed or anointed Republican or conservative somewhere in New Orleans city government. I can't think of a single elected person that is a conservative Republican in New Orleans city government at any level, from dog catcher to mayor. I can't think of any elected person that's a Republican or conservative. There might be one. I'm just telling you, I can't think of one in New Orleans government. Not a single one. And this is what I do for a living. So, yeah, New Orleans needs some conservative, Republican viewpoints, ideology, perspective, whatever. Just some equal and opposite time for the other side, for crying out loud. There's no time for the other side. And things haven't been going too well for the last 30, 40, 50 years in New Orleans. So some fresh ideas would be nice. We'll talk about the mayor's race on this Fantasy Friday. What's really important to us, the citizens, and will Helena Moreno, Oliver Thomas pounce on these ideas and implement them, not just get elected on them. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Gorgeous day. Started out kind of cold, but now just beautiful. Tomorrow, Sunday, we'll get into the 70s. Beautiful weather in New Orleans.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home. Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeVar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. You know, we got a big holiday season coming up. I know a lot of you guys are stressed out. What am I going to get her? Is she going to like it? Don't be stressed out. Christmas, by the way, 12 days away, a week from this Wednesday. A week from this Wednesday, 12 days out till Christmas. Guys, what are you going to get her? You're going to get her a day of relaxation at the city's premier day spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa. Is she going to like it? She's going to love it because it's what she wants. I mean, I don't know how else to tell you. I mean, I don't have all the answers, and you could say I don't have a lot of the answers. But on this one, I'm right. It's the holiday season. You got to get her a great gift. You got to take care of her. She wants a day of relaxation at the Woodhouse. Problem solved. Now, I recommend going to one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations because in the lobby foyer area, they've got lots of goodies for her. You can get this little bag, Woodhouse bag with the little rope handles and the tissue paper and the ribbons and the bow, all that stuff. And fill it with like bath salts and moisturizers and candles, stuff from that lobby area that she'll love. And then you get her that day of relaxation gift card, put that in the bag. I mean, your Christmas gift is done. 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations to take advantage of that lobby foyer area idea and get the candles, the bath salt, the moisturizers, the slippers, the robes, all that good stuff. 5 locations. Where I was a couple of Sundays ago, had a 4:30, 50-minute deep tissue massage. Fantastic. My only regret, I should have done 80 minutes, not 50. Canal Street at Carrollton in Mid-City, New Orleans. Canal at Carrollton, convenient for a lot of folks. They're in Metairie near North Kenner. Transcontinental at West Esplanade. They're in Mandeville, across from the Mandeville City Hall, East Causeway approach. They're in Slidell, about 90 seconds off the Gauze I-10 exit. And they're in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana, so convenient for a lot of folks. Pick your poison, one of the 5 Woodhouse Day Spa locations. You can go online, woodhousespas.com. Pick your location and book an appointment for her right now. And if you don't think you can make it by one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations, you can print your own gift card. Any denomination, any amount of money you want to spend, including a full-blown day of relaxation, you can do it all online. WoodhouseSpas.com. Yeah, guys, holiday season's coming up. It's a no-brainer, the Woodhouse Day Spa. It really is. It's a no-brainer. Problem solved. What she wants. Everyone's happy. Helena Moreno officially in, running for mayor, city of New Orleans. Oliver Thomas unofficially in. He'll make the announcement in a few weeks. I don't think Helena Moreno getting in the race makes Oliver Thomas contemplate the race. Wow, Helena Moreno's in there. Maybe I shouldn't run. Oliver Thomas knew Helena Moreno is going to jump in that race. Royce DePlessis, Arthur Hunter, the judge, they're expected to jump in there. Royce DePlessis, state senator. Will a conservative Republican get in the race? Or just waste of time? John Bel Edwards, a Democrat, didn't think it was a waste of time to run as a Democrat for governor in Louisiana. He did it twice and won twice. No, isn't that amazing? I mean, Louisiana is extreme as it gets. I think, I don't know, the last election, 2 elections ago, only Oklahoma had a larger percentage of votes for Donald Trump than Louisiana. So we're a red state. We've got about 1.1 million registered Democrats and about 1 million registered Republicans. So you're like, Corey, 100,000 more Democrats than Republicans? A few things. Some of the Democrats are Republicans, just have been registered Democrat their whole life and will stay that way their whole life, yet they vote Republican and have for decades now. Just haven't switched over party, never will, but vote Republican more than Democrat, and they're registered Democrats. Some are registered Democrats and vote both ways, like an independent, vote Democrat and vote Republican. And then Republicans basically, in this state especially, show up and vote. So you might have 100,000 more registered Democrats in Louisiana than Republicans, but you have hundreds of thousands more Republicans. And it shows in the Senate, the House, governor now, treasurer, lieutenant governor. I mean, you name it. So hyper extreme, evangelical, hardcore, wacky right Louisiana, not once, but twice, elects a Democrat as governor, the highest office. That just goes to show you how extreme loony left New Orleans is. Crazy, hyper extreme, where there isn't even a Republican in sight. You think like the city council, you'd have one city council member would be Republican. It's mind-blowing. It really is. It's a major problem in New Orleans. I don't know why it isn't talked about a lot more. I'm not saying like, boy, you need Republicans in all these offices and it solves the problems. The Democrats are the problem. The Republicans are problem solvers. I'm not saying that at all, not in the least bit. I'm saying New Orleans is pure Democrat, pure liberal, kind of hyper woke, hyper progressive, fully embedded, embraced, and no thought of even looking at the other side. The other ideology, conservative Republican ideology in the city of New Orleans. It doesn't exist. There's not an elected Republican or conservative anywhere that I know of. And I don't even know if there's an appointed or anointed person in any kind of high office that's a conservative Republican. No, and that's a problem. That's a problem. I'm not doing some conservative show where get the conservative there and solve all the problems. I'm telling you, the problem is the opposite. There's no conservatives anywhere. It's all Democrats, liberal, kind of hyper woke progressives. Got to have, opposing views sometimes. My God, it's crazy. You wonder why New Orleans has been broken for 40 or 50 years because of this extreme ideology and not even an inkling of anything from the right. From the conservative ideology. That's crazy. Yeah, if Helena Moreno or Oliver Thomas is listening, New Orleans needs dramatic change. Like, if you feel like, man, we're swimming across the lake and I'm 12 miles out, it's 12 miles to the other side, I might as well finish and continue across. No, you need to turn around and go back. We need to start over again in New Orleans. It doesn't work. We need major changes in New Orleans. First off, just all the offices, all the different departments, administrative positions. A lot of that needs to be consolidated. Some of these offices just need to be eliminated. There's no need for them in 2024. There's no need. So you need to shrink city government. I mean, I love when I hear LaToya Cantrell talk about hundreds of openings at City Hall. We're understaffed, haven't rebounded from coronavirus crisis with employees, on and on and on. It's crazy. Like New Orleans is some well-oiled machine, efficiently run. No, you need to cut the fat out big time. That's what was so disappointing with Mitch Landrieu with the police department, the NOPD, cutting that budget. You know, it's as if Mitch Landrieu wants us to believe like we scoured the entire New Orleans city budget and there's no one that we can, you know, forced retirement, kind of attrition, get rid of a bunch of fat, trim these rosters down. Have folks that, hey, you're going to have to do something else, this and this now, if you want to keep your job. Things have changed. It's the next day, like everybody else in the real world. My God, when I was in radio in the beginning, they used to give you like a card with a new title on it. And all that meant was you have a card with a new title on it. You have more duties, more work to do, and we're not paying you any more money. Oh, and if we are, it's such a minor amount that it doesn't count and it doesn't pay for the work you're doing, the added work. But we're going to give you this title: sports director, news director, associate producer, whatever, director, you know, just, and you've got more editing and work to do. That's the real world. That's reality. So no, in New Orleans City Hall, I mean, the first thing you do is you trim the fat. But it's the opposite. It's appeasing and placating these employees and, you know, promising them their jobs and their retirement. I mean, what is the federal government is like 1% of every year you work. That's what you get in retirement. I think New Orleans is 3%. 3% for every year. You work 30 years, you get your full salary for the rest of your life. You work 30 years in the federal government, you get 30% of your salary for the rest of your life. No, got to make it much more efficient. Hey, speaking of efficient, Total Maintenance, if you need air conditioning or heat help in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, think Total Maintenance, tm-ac.com. Yeah, it's holiday season. They'll be there on Christmas Day. tm-ac.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality benchmark products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Yeah, you right. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Corey Johnson back at you. Coming up in the 5 o'clock power hour, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. He's about 40 minutes away from joining us live on the program. Super Bowl about 60 days away, 60 plus days away. We'll talk about that. Also, some AI jobs for the city of New Orleans. Yeah, you're right. White collar tech jobs. We need those. Thanks so much for joining us on a Friday. Helena Moreno made it official earlier this week on Wednesday, running for mayor, city of New Orleans. In the next few weeks, Oliver Thomas is expected to make it official. Might get Royce Duplessis, the state senator. Might get Arthur Hunter, the judge, in the race. There might be another wild card, someone we don't even know about, Sidney Torres or someone like that. I'd like to see a viable Republican candidate get in there. There's another part of politics. Helena Moreno is white. Oliver Thomas is black. If a white Republican gets in the race, it takes white votes away from Helena Moreno. So people will consider that. And that's probably the biggest part of this race. How much white vote can Oliver Thomas get? And how much of the black vote can he retain? And how much black vote can Helena Moreno get in this race? Helena Moreno gets a decent chunk of the black vote. She wins. She's the next mayor. Now, I know a little bit of something about how race works in elections. I altered the 2007 city council race, how that turned out. It basically would have been Cynthia Willard Lewis as the council person at large if I wasn't in that race. But because I ran in that race, Jackie Clarkson ended up being the council person in that district. And I'll quickly explain it to you. I'll use rough numbers in this 07 council at large race. At the primary, you had Cynthia Willard Lewis in first place with like 18,000 votes, and Jackie Clarkson in second place with like 17,000 votes. And I forget this other white woman who was a political newcomer that, you know, came out of nowhere and spent a lot of money and had a lot of backing, and she was a potential, you know, candidate for this race. She got like 16,000 votes, came in third place, barely missed out on second place. I got like 4,500 votes as an independent. I clearly took away more votes from the woman that came in third place than Cynthia Willard Lewis or Jackie Clarkson's voters. I probably took some Jackie Clarkson voters. I probably took some Cynthia Willard Lewis voters. But the quote newcomer and folks voting for newcomers like me and this lady who spent a lot of money who came in third place, she would have come in second place if I wouldn't have run. And it would have been a Cynthia Willard Lewis who came in first place, would have won by even more votes, and then would have probably won in a runoff. But instead, it was a Cynthia Willard Lewis, Jackie Clarkson runoff, and Jackie Clarkson won that seat. So I know all about how entering a race can affect Republican, Democrat, black, white, all of that. No, New Orleans needs dramatic change. And just some quick points that I would throw out there. I mentioned trim the fat, consolidate departments and agencies, eliminate some altogether. Cut the workforce at City Hall by 25%. If you're going to be mayor of the city of New Orleans, bring in the best and the brightest from locally and from all around the country, all around the world. If all things are equal, I guess you hire the local person. But I would imagine a lot of my staff will be men and women from all around the country if I were mayor. My staff would have men and women from all around the country on my staff, experts at city management, city government, from cities that have successful economies, have been on a roll for a long time. To people like Oliver Thomas and Helena Moreno, you're a Democrat. You really are hardcore, progressive, kind of woke. So obviously, you're going to have a lot of Democrat and liberal thinking people and their ideology on your staff, on your election team, all that stuff. But if I were Helena Moreno or Oliver Thomas, I would say this while running for office, at least 25% of my staff and at least 25% of my advisors, my key people around me, at least 25% will be conservatives, will be Republicans, at least 25% in every case. At least you'd have some true diversity of thinking in the city. If 1 out of 4, just 1 out of 4, not even half of New Orleans city government was Republican and conservative thinking. I mean, think about John Bell Edwards. Who was his chief of staff? Jay Darden, a Republican. I'll never forget that. I was like, that was awesome. This Democrat blue blood brings in, who's a moderate, brings in a Republican in one of his key positions. The Democrats in the state were freaking out. It's like, we win the governor's mansion and you don't put in one of our own? Just ticked off about it. And then the Republicans, they weren't like grateful. The Republicans were like, Jay Darden's a rhino. He's not even a real Republican. That's token. That's worthless. I mean, couldn't appease either side. That's when I really knew it was a positive. No, that was a smart move by John Bell Edwards. It's a Republican red state. You need that kind of thinking on your staff, key advisors, so you can get stuff done. Whoever's the mayor of New Orleans, they need key advisors, key people on their staff that are conservative Republicans to work with the state and just to give a different ideology to broken, dysfunctional New Orleans city government. Because we've done the Democrat, liberal, hardcore thing for a long time, and it hadn't worked. I would build a new city hall. I would be pushing that as mayor, running a much smaller, a much more efficient city hall, maybe 2 or 3 stories. And the clear location for it is Central City. There's land available. There's space available. It's right next door to downtown. It's right on the other side of the Pontchartrain Expressway. It's not like you're moving 20 minutes away across town. Let's put City Hall in New Orleans East. Give them a leg up. No one wants to drive all the way out to the east. Like no one wants to drive way out to the West Bank or to Kenner if they live in New Orleans. They want to get their stuff done in the center of the city, the CBD, where everything is. So you're moving right next door to the CBD, Central City. You're giving that neighborhood a lift, a leg up, a hand up. There'd be a lot of private money, private investment. No, you make a lean and mean, futuristic 2045, not 2024, 2025, 2045 super technologically advanced city hall for New Orleans in Central City. That just is simple. Put together a business panel or council that is chosen by the business community. Essentially, you want the business community to lead, not the politicians. The mayor, the council, they're there to park the car, valet, open the door, be the maitre d', seat you at your table, all that. You don't even want them cooking the meal. They're like the service industry. They're the bartender. They're the person holding open the door. No, you put a business panel or council together that's chosen by the business community. They're going to have major input. They're going to lead the way. Just hold the door open and let them do what they do best. Now, one thing that needs to be addressed, and a lot of folks are uncomfortable about it, but you need another panel of true black and white New Orleanians, like-minded thinkers, people that are honorable with ethics, integrity, and morals. We're all in it together. Got to figure out a way to bridge the gap between black and white in New Orleans. But white people have to be involved in the process or it'll never work. It's not a black thing. It's a New Orleans thing. It's black and white. No, the disparity in income and opportunity, essentially, generally speaking, white uptown people run the city, the business part of the city, and black people run politics in New Orleans. Black folks run City Hall and politics. White folks run the business community. No, there needs to be a little more integration with both of those. Speaking of the white uptown folks, when we come back, there's a major role for them. If I'm mayor of the city, a major role for uptown folks, for affluent black folks like the Troy Henrys, all these black folks. I mean, Eugene Green on the council that went to these Ivy League schools or like Stanford, Duke. There are a lot of them coming right back.
Hey, New Orleans, if you've ever wanted to experience life on St. Charles Avenue, now is your chance. The Grand Victorian, the ultimate bed and breakfast in the Garden District on the streetcar line. Built in 1893, this magnificent house will make your special weekend getaway special. To find out more, go to gvbb.com. That's gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian, where the locals go to get away.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint in Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Michael Hecht, about 25 minutes away. He'll join us in the 5 o'clock powwow as we count down to the Super Bowl. You know, opportunities, you've got to make your way. You got to be proactive. You got to be aggressive. I talked to Michael about Lakefront Airport, Super Bowl week. They're expecting more than 500 G5 or larger private jets to be flying into Lakefront Airport for the Super Bowl and the weekend. 500. More than 500 G5 and larger private jets. These are wealthy people, not rich people, wealthy people. These are CEOs and Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 types. These are movers and shakers, decision makers. You need to proactively get people in front of as many of those people as possible. Michael Hecht can't do it alone. Michael Hecht could have, 8 appointments booked for 4 straight days. He's seeing 35 people. And that's wall to wall for 4 or 5 straight days. He's going to see 35 people. We need 35 people, 50 people seeing wall to wall people for 3, 4, 5 days. We need hundreds and hundreds of these wealthy CEOs, these 500 plus private planes that are flying into Lakefront Airport. We need to get in front of a bunch of those people. So you got to get with the, like I always bring up Bill Hines from Jones Walker, because he's probably the number one mover as far as how we landed an NBA franchise for the second time in New Orleans, how we got the Charlotte Hornets to move from Charlotte to New Orleans 20 plus years ago. Bill Hines was probably the number one mover. Just smart, gets things done. No baggage, no BS, no nonsense, just a mover and shaker, a doer, intelligent guy. Got the NBA here. So now I bring him up as an example. It's like, Bill, where did you go to college? Where did you go? Went to like Duke, went to Yale, went to Princeton, went to Stanford, Vanderbilt, whatever. Yeah, my roommate is a Fortune 500 CEO. Yeah, I went to school. I was in a fraternity with these guys. They're Fortune 500 CEOs. These guys are decision makers. Yeah, I went to so-and-so. My friend knows him well. You need to pull all those connections, all those strings for the Super Bowl and get in front of as many people as possible and basically like beg for jobs, anything. I mean, you got to do it in a professional way, but essentially like give us some jobs. Bring some of those jobs that could be anywhere to culturally rich New Orleans. There's got to be a lot of people. Look at Shell. Shell gives a lot of employees a choice. You can live in, Houston, New Orleans, around the world. And a lot of these people that can live anywhere and do their job, a lot of them come to New Orleans. A lot of Shell employees are from all around the world. And they live in New Orleans because Shell allows them to do that. So there's got to be a bunch of other companies like that where the workers could live anywhere and would love to live in New Orleans. The dollar goes farther and, a livable city, not as much crowd and congestion and all of that. So no, just like for the Super Bowl, getting back to if I were mayor or telling someone who's going to be mayor, and I mentioned going into the break, the uptown New Orleans folks, you get with all those affluent uptown New Orleans folks that are successful, that went to college, like great universities, and they know the people that are CEOs and decision makers and wealthy that are coming to town. No, you get with those connected people that call New Orleans home. And I mentioned these black folks like Troy Henry, who went to Stanford and has an engineering degree. Eugene Green went to like Princeton or Yale or Harvard, some Ivy Leaguer. Marlon Gusman, the old sheriff, went to like Princeton. I mean, a bunch of Ivy League guys. So the black community has the same connections as these affluent uptown folks. It's just a first generation of connection. Unlike the white uptown folks, it might be a few generations, but the Troy Henrys, the Eugene Greens, these Ivy League educated black men in New Orleans, and there's probably a bunch of Ivy League and those types of school educated black females in New Orleans, women. You get them to get with their sorority sister, their fraternity brother. I was my dorm mate. I played, in the band with that guy. I played sports with that guy. I was in a, ROTC, whatever it is. These uptown folks, these affluent black folks, get with the decision makers, the people they know, they went to school with these CEO types, these decision makers with Fortune 500 companies. Get in front of their former college roommate, and try to broker jobs for New Orleans, land jobs for New Orleans. Corey Johnson with you on a Friday. Tracy's Magazine at Pleasant. It's the weekend. All your sports action, anything you want to watch. If you can't make it to the venue, to the arena or the stadium, Tracy's has like-minded fans checking it out on the big screen, enjoying some great food from their full-blown kitchen featuring one of the best roast beef po' boys in the city. Too many flat screens to count. Yeah, it's the bigger and better brand new Tracy's, bigger and better than ever. Right down the block from the original. Now at Magazine and Pleasant. Kind of catty corner from that Bromart grocery store on Magazine, between Washington and Louisiana. When it's time to check out your favorite sports teams, hard to find a better spot than Tracy's. Legendary Tracy's Magazine at Pleasant. Bowl season, rest of the Saints season, Pelicans, NBA, and NFL playoffs coming up soon. Tracy's. What's that, Blue Boy? 5 o'clock power hour next. Yep. What the mayor needs to do, because it's official now. Helena Moreno's in. Oliver Thomas will be in the next few weeks. The advice I'd be giving them, yeah, I hear you, Blue Boy. It's pretty simple. Change is the key. Got to go in an entirely different direction. Coming right back on a Friday.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
Yep.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Want to stay somewhere special visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. More about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint, that's why. Ooh, la, la, that's what I said. Ooh, la, Leidenheimer. That's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread. Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. Get Audubon Gutters.
Right, Crescent City and beyond. 5 o'clock power hour. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. The boom goes the dynamite. Where's Mr. Drew Brees with that intro already? He's right. It is indeed New Orleans, Louisiana. It's New Orleans, Louisiana on a Friday in December. Holiday season. Nice weather, cool and crisp, and then warming up like the 70s over the weekend, then back down into 40s next week. I like it. I don't mind it one bit. I love our non-summer season. Sort of October through April. Wonderful. No, it's New Orleans. It's Friday. The weekend's upon us. Yeah, you right.
I love the 5 o'clock whistle on a Friday. We like recognizing this very moment of the week a little bit after 5 p.m. on a Friday. That means for 90% of the population, 100% of the work week is in the books. And 100% of the weekend, the entire weekend's in front of you. I like this little limbo period. Smell the roses. That's why we blow the 5 o'clock whistle. And the 5 o'clock whistle on a Fantasy Friday, appropriately brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City, as New Orleans as it gets. Why aren't you at Katie's right now, getting your weekend started, winding down your work week? Outdoor dining, indoor dining, flat screen TVs, big portions, great for sharing. New Orleans specialties, old school. And you never know what Scott Craig's going to bring in. The owner, operator, head chef could be pompano or speckled trout or soft shell crabs. You never know. A Mid-City mainstay, Iberville, corner Talamarcus. Make it to Katie's this weekend. Like I said, as New Orleans as it gets. 5 o'clock whistle on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program, appropriately brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City. Hey, coming up in about 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. will join us. 60-something days till the Super Bowl, AI jobs for the city, and a whole lot more, like Helena Moreno running for mayor. We've been talking about that on a Fantasy Friday. Helena Moreno running for mayor. Oliver Thomas will make it official in the next few weeks. The election is in October, about 11 months away. Maybe Royce DePlessis, the state senator. Maybe Arthur Hunter, the judge, jumps into the race. I'd like to see a conservative Republican that's viable get in the race. Talking about if I were running or what advice I would give to people that are running. I mean, the big points have the business community lead, and the politicians strictly are there to open doors. I'll never forget a couple of things. Like, it's funny when you think about the Mark Morial administration, it's hard to come up with anything. Seriously. Mark did this. Mark did that. Man, that business that's out there in New Orleans East, it wouldn't be there without Mark Morial. I mean, he's like John Alario, Edwin Edwards, Bill Jefferson, just blank resume, not a lot of accomplishments. But when I think about Mark Morial's administration and anything positive that happened, there were two big things that were positive. One was Richard Pennington, hired as police chief. The feds basically, under a consent decree that they were paying for, not New Orleans like today's consent decree. This was tail end of Clinton. There was a surplus. The feds were paying for the consent decree. The feds basically told Mark Morial and the city, we've got the police chief for you. It's the second in command in Washington, D.C. His name's Richard Pennington. Richard Pennington's going to be the chief. And Mark Morial just got out of the way. No problem. I'm all in. I'll run with that. So Mark Morial, as mayor, let the feds bring in Richard Pennington, and he could ride on the coattails of that hire. But that wasn't some national search, and Mark Morial's like, Richard Pennington, the number 2 guy in D.C. Mark Morial would have hired someone locally within the force. Pampy Barre was an NOPD officer who was Dutch Morial's driver. That's why Pampy Barre, under Mark Morial, continued to have all these city contracts and BS and nonsense. Parking, feeding, jury pools at court, all kind of crap. Just a joke. No, so Mark Morial wasn't into hiring Richard Pennington in D.C. He would have hired a friend, someone locally, paying back a favor or hiring someone that would owe him a major favor. So he got out of the way on that. The only other thing I can think of, landing the NBA Charlotte Hornets. And he got out of the way and let the business community lead, led by Bill Hines, the Jones Walker lawyer, and Jay Cicero with the Sports Foundation. Went after that team like trying to land a Super Bowl. There's no politics involved in landing a Super Bowl. The mayor, the governor, nowhere to be seen, and you don't want them seen. You don't want New Orleans or Louisiana politics near any of that. That's how you don't land a Super Bowl or a Final Four. No, the politics, get out of the way, the business community leads. That's one of the biggest things. Business community leads, politicians just hold open the doors. Trim the fat with City Hall. Shrink the workforce, consolidate departments and agencies, eliminate some altogether. Build a new City Hall. Lean, mean for 2045, not 2025, for 2045, futuristic, technologically advanced, much smaller, and do it in Central City to give that neighborhood a leg up. Some things that aren't as big as that are very important, even the small things. Just trash. New Orleans, filthy city, litter city. Got to clean it up. And Bourbon Street, need to reimagine Bourbon Street. It's long overdue. Trinket stores and strip joints and daiquiri shops and big-ass beer. It's worthless. It's almost worthless. It's not a big money generator. It's not a big tax generator. The folks that go down there and walk up and down with their daiquiri boyfriend, girlfriend, they're spending $20 a head. They're getting in the truck and they're driving away. And a lot of it's cash money, like the strip joints. No, and there's prostitution and drugs. Bourbon Street's terrible. It's a gutter. It's a sewer. There's a reason us locals don't go down there. It sucks. So that would be one of my major plans. You bring in the best and the brightest from locally, from all around the country. You bring in at least 25% of your staff, because it's going to be Helena Moreno or Oliver Thomas most likely, or if it's Royce Duplessis or Arthur Hunter, they're all liberal Democrats. You make sure 25% of your staff, 25% of anyone anointed, appointed, 25% of your advisors are conservative Republicans. So you get a different view. Just 25%. Still going to be all Democrats and liberals, 75%. No, you got to empower the Honduran population, the Vietnamese community. You need to give the Office of Inspector General even more power and autonomy and money. Transparency in government. You need, because you're the city of New Orleans, you lead the way with the outlying parishes, the presidents, the key decision makers, the mayors, and you meet once a quarter in New Orleans at a ballroom hotel, and you bang out some business where the community as a whole, Metro New Orleans, grows. You give the Port of New Orleans whatever it needs. Coastal restoration, not just a state project that's ignored in New Orleans. I mentioned my little "we be digging" slogan. We be digging small holes, because we're planting trees 24/7, 365. New Orleans, the greenest city in the subtropic zone, in a marsh, in a wetland, the greenest city in America if I'm mayor. We be digging small holes for trees. We be digging large holes for retention ponds and water features so we don't flood. New Orleans East needs to be addressed. New Orleans East, that would be a major part of any positive, forward-thinking mayoral platform administration. Corey Johnson with your Fantasy Friday. Michael Hecht is next.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business, 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, NOLA has continued to the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeVar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. These folks have been at it since 1940, going into their 85th year in New Orleans. Young's Dry Cleaning, 4th generation. Young's Dry Cleaning, truly a New Orleans institution. Walk-up locations with personal service, free pickup and delivery, manless locker locations. You dump off your dirty stuff in a safe, secure Young's Express locker. 2 short days later, pick it all up perfectly dry cleaned. Want to experience the best dry cleaner? Young'sDryCleaning.com. Young'sDryCleaning.com. Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. joins us on the program again. What's up, Michael?
How you doing, KJ? It's beginning to look a little bit like Christmas.
Yeah.
Nice crisp weather.
Yep. We got, I was telling somebody because they're bummed out about this 40 one day, 70 the next day thing. I'm like, that's the great thing about our non-summer season. If it gets too cold or too hot, just wait a couple of days. It'll be 60 degrees. I love the October through April in New Orleans.
Yeah, and I vastly prefer days like today in the 50s and 60s as opposed to those weird December 74 degrees and wet winter. I mean, like the mosquitoes have back sweat. It's gross being hot and muggy in December. Nobody wants that unless you're in Australia.
No, exactly. When the carport is sweating, you don't want that.
I don't want that. That's not a thing, So no, it's been a nice December so far. I've been happy with it, man. It's been great, and I love Christmas in New Orleans. I grew up coming down here from New York and going and seeing the lights out on Transcontinental, and there was always something spectacular about all the pageantry with like the weirdly not so cold weather. It just struck me. It made the lights that much brighter because they seemed, extravagant, unnecessary. In a dark, cold place, the lights are normal, but in a place that's essentially the tropics, they seem it's like a burlesque. I loved it. I still do love it.
Michael Hecht's with us from Greater New Orleans Inc. Michael, what are we looking at? 60 plus days till Super Bowl 59 at the Dome?
58.
Wow, 58 days. Holy smokes. That's coming fast now.
Yeah, it comes in hot. There's just a ton of work going on, and I just give a lot of credit to everybody who has been doing it. Folks said, how do you feel about the French Quarter? Well, the work in the French Quarter ideally would have been done 6 months ago, but given that we're 2 months out and Bow Brothers has the contract, I'm feeling okay because they're pros. They're going to get it done. So what I tell people now is that we're pretty good on the known knowns. We're pretty good on the known unknowns. To some degree, I'm beginning to shift into how do we prepare for the unknown unknowns and just being ready for when the weird stuff happens, because we're in reasonable shape now. The homeless situation, we're beginning to really focus on the French Quarter to get that cleaned up. Crime has it's upticked again. I'm concerned about permitless concealed carry and how we are able to effectively police with that, new kind of dynamic. Those are probably the two biggest things that are kind of flashing yellow right now.
Hey, Michael, when we talk about the French Quarter and what's being done there over the next 58 days leading up to the Super Bowl, what is it? Streets, sidewalks, signage, lights, and some power washing? I mean, what am I missing?
You're missing the cleaning up of the 100 blocks, which includes facades, murals, lighting, security. You're missing continued quality of life sweeps that are going on, the homeless abatement. But everything else, I think you got. Streets, sidewalks, lights, new street signs. Oh, the garbage contract, of course, that nonsense has to get resolved.
Yeah.
And it will, but it's unfortunate. We're not going to get the level of garbage sanitation that I was hoping for. The lemony, really top tier. We're going to get the basic, but I can't change that right now. So yeah, the French Quarter should look and feel as good as it's looked and felt in a decade or more. I'm pretty confident about that.
What would you say is the biggest thing on the punch list that's been done? And what are some smaller things, but that you think are of vital importance?
I think the biggest thing that's been done on the punch list is getting all of these street repaving contracts going, some of which are done, like Poydras, some of which are underway, like CBA. In terms of the niggly stuff that I'm concerned about, there are lots of just individual things, a street light here, a corner there. It's why we're relying on the public to get in touch with us. Everybody can email superbowl@gnoinc.org and just let us know if there's something we can get on. We still have time to fix stuff. We're 60 days out. So people should speak up, now. And the good news is that all the stuff we're working on, it's not just for the Super Bowl. The vast majority of it is going to be stuff that should last for a decade or more. I'm also really excited about all the murals that are going up. That's really cool. Huge B-Mike one going up over Duncan Plaza. We've got stuff going up on Girard Street. We've got a big Shepherd Ferry that's going up on the Marriott, on Canal. The ferry terminal is going to get a mural. So it's going to look, is it going to be a panic at the end? Absolutely. But I think it's going to be like one of those, holiday films where the folks are coming home and we're cleaning up the house party, and 30 seconds before they pull into the driveway, it's going to be perfection.
Don't have to tell them to not touch the railing because the paint's wet?
Well, there might be a couple of signs, but overall, it's going to be better than how they left it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Michael Hecht's with us from Greater New Orleans saying, what's happening with the Plaza Tower? I mean, the city's now talking about potentially demolishing the building. A couple of things, Michael. What's going to happen with it as far as the Super Bowl with the wrapping? Because it obviously can't be demolished in such a short time. And second, first off, it's just sort of a local building. I mean, it seems like if you got in touch with, people that do this type of thing, historic redevelopment, like Press Kabakoff, and not him because he knows about it, but people from around the country that are active in this. I mean, maybe there's a chance of getting that building back into commerce. I think it's just, I look at Six Flags. You got Troy Henry as the winning bid, local. The runner-ups were Drew Brees and Demario Davis. I mean, it's laughable. Right. It should have been like Bass Pro Shops Cabela's losing out to Flying J Truck Stop or Buc-ee's or, something like that. So has the Plaza Tower been marketed properly? I know it's not a public thing; it's a private thing, Michael. But
No,
it's mind blowing to me that thing still just sits there and no one can figure out how to develop it, and the city may have to demolish it for nearly $30 million.
Well, I mean, a couple of things. One is that if the city demolishes it, they've got a $30 million hole in the ground. So what's that? What does that get anybody, right? I mean, it's a good threat and it's a real threat, but it's not a great answer. It's an expensive hole in the ground. So, that's kind of the worst case scenario. In terms of selling it, the thing that mitigates against it is that it's a challenged building. The floor plates are too small, and so it's been an issue for a long time. That's why it emptied out before Katrina. But the good news is that the estate is actively trying to sell it. They believe that they've got some legitimate offers coming in. And the main thing is that they're being much more reasonable about the price than maybe Joe Yeager was. I mean, Joe Yeager was very successful at collecting buildings, but he didn't like to get rid of them. He was always looking for a better price. The estate's being much more practical about how they want to do this.
What did you say was the problem with the building? The floor plan? The what?
The floor plates, it's too skinny. So you can't get enough revenue per floor relative to the utilities like the elevators and the HVAC. So if it's New York City and you're just getting Russian oligarchs, parking their money, no problem. But if you're trying to make it a legit building in a market that doesn't have that much demand, it's the math on the building is difficult. I mean, I've looked at it a bunch of times. I love that building. I'm a kind of an architecture wannabe. It's not easy to make the math work on how, I'm doing like some people said it should be a poor man's Four Seasons with a hotel, retail, and apartments. Okay, I love that idea, but again, the math still has to work on how you do the renovation and then cash flow it. So, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think demolishing it is much easier said than done, frankly. I think it's good to have the threat, but I don't think that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, no, agreed. Michael Hecht's with us from Greater New Orleans Inc. We visit with him every Friday. This segment, always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant. By the way, Latrim is hiring in Elmwood and on the North Shore. You don't have to traverse the lake. If you're living in Covington or Mandeville, there is a Latrim facility off I-12 and they're hiring. And if you live on the West Bank or East Bank, Latrim's got you covered in Elmwood. For a full listing of positions available, go to latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, latrim.com. Hey, Michael, can you hang on a sec? We'll come right back and finish up, talk about AI jobs and some other goodies.
Let's talk about potato when you get back.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, some AI jobs, white collar, $80,000 a year. I'm not talking about Meta up in Monroe, but maybe like a little small spinoff indirectly down here in New Orleans. Michael will fill you in on those AI jobs coming to the city. Corey Johnson with you, 5 o'clock powwow, a Fantasy Friday. Coming right back.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com. Your cool spot.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King. Hey, New Orleans, if you've ever wanted to experience life on St. Charles Avenue, now is your chance. The Grand Victorian, the ultimate bed and breakfast in the Garden District on the streetcar line. Built in 1893, this magnificent house will make your special weekend getaway special. To find out more, go to gvbb.com. That's gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian, where the locals go to get away. Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Fantasy Friday edition of the program. The French bread of New Orleans, Leidenheimer French bread. The Po' Boy French bread of New Orleans, Leidenheimer French bread. Leidenheimer Baking Company, they've been at it since 1896, and now they're bagging and boxing their French bread that they bake right here in New Orleans, and are sending it out to 30 states. 30 plus states around the country now have Leidenheimer French bread. Leidenheimer French bread, Leidenheimer Baking Company. Pretty cool, Michael. They don't sub it out to other bakeries. Leidenheimer bakes all that French bread in New Orleans. They bag up a bunch of it and box it and ship it out to 30 states now. Pretty cool.
No, it's our version of the bagel. You ask like what's special about it. Something is, I can't tell you what it is, but I know it when I bite into it.
Yep.
And you can't recreate that in other places. So it's the usual stuff. It's the water, it's the gravity. I don't know what it is, but a po' boy on Leidenheimer is the epitome, and anything else is a degradation.
Yep, I agree. So well said. Hey, Michael, before we move on, so the Plaza Tower is going to get just like wrapped like at the halfway point down?
We're going to wrap the bottom 11 floors, I think it is, which is the parking garage. It's about the first, probably about 100 feet in the air. And then there's going to also be a big Becky Foss vinyl on the huge marble fascia facing South Rampart.
Nice.
So we're going to beautify it a little bit. Lipstick on a pig, I guess is how you'd say it. But it's going to be great because they're huge surfaces. I mean, that each side is like 130, 170 feet wide.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
Hey, Michael, you mentioned like a poor man's Four Seasons. It got me thinking about the Four Seasons. I was talking about it earlier this week. How is that project doing? From what I've heard, it's working, but it's not fantastic. Like there's still a lot of vacancies. There's still a lot of apartments and condos available, but it's not like they're throwing in the towel or anything, but not maybe working as anticipated. What is your view on the Four Seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I mean, overall, it's working. It's a beautiful building. It now benefits from Caesars doing the really nice redo on the hotel, and Nobu and Audubon getting redone. I mean, so it's going to work. I think the hotel part is doing fine. The condos we're doing great at first, and then kind of hit a snag as interest rates, went through the roof.
Yep.
So, it's been a little bit rougher there. So I think it's one of those deals where it's just taking longer to do what they wanted it to do, which is, not unusual. But I don't have concerns about it fundamentally because people want to invest in a Four Seasons product. It's an investment more than anything. And if people are looking to where to put their money, real estate is a good place to put your money. And so that's what they're doing with it.
Hey, Michael, what are these AI jobs that are coming to New Orleans? They're going to the CAC workspace?
Yeah, it's temporary. It's a company called Capato. The CEO, Ted Elliott, is from here. I think we have a good chance of eventually getting the full headquarters down here. It's going to start out at 20 jobs, about $80,000 salary. They're a software as a service company, do a lot of AI work in partnership with Salesforce, which is an NHR software. As you can tell, I can't explain exactly what they do. I feel like I'm talking with like word-shaped air. But they're a real company with real jobs doing real stuff with AI.
Yep.
And, we've had a good run recently of AI jobs here. We had, of course, the massive announcement in the Northeast, Monroe. We had this DAQA, which is a quality assurance company that was just announced. So I like that we're getting these energy jobs going around and then these tech jobs going around as well. It's nice kind of overall diversification and good momentum. And, this is a guy, again, who had ties here. I met with somebody recently who I first met with 10 years ago. And he said, you know what, I'm ready to bring my company from Charleston to New Orleans, another tech company. So I feel like overall, after having a few years in the desert, we're kind of getting back to the oasis. There's a lot more momentum in economic development than we've had in a while. Or maybe I'm just saying that to myself, but it's how I feel.
Hey, Michael, let's end it with this. Helena Moreno officially getting into the mayor's race. Oliver Thomas expected in the next few weeks. New Orleans is pretty liberal and Democratic run. The state of Louisiana is pretty conservative and Republican run. With that said, and I would say both are extreme, like hardcore right and loony left. With that said, Louisiana not once but twice elected a Democrat governor. But in New Orleans, and I'm a registered independent. I don't care. I could care less about Democrat or Republican, except in this application, New Orleans I can't think of a Republican conservative elected official anywhere in city government. I can't even think of an anointed or appointed person in city government that is a conservative or a Republican. It just seems that for New Orleans to move forward, I don't know what the percentage needs to be, 10%, 25%. I know it's not going to be half, but 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 advisors, key people in city government need to be conservative Republicans for New Orleans to run right. And I'm not like one of those guys like, get a Republican in, Michael, it solves the problem. The Democrats suck. I think they both equally suck and are both equally good. I don't care about either party, honestly. I just want diversity of thinking, and I think that's a problem in New Orleans.
Well, yeah, but let's go. I don't know, let's get back to first principles. I'm not sure that political identity particularly matters in terms of what people want out of city government or want out of the mayor. I mean, I've now been in the belly of the beast for about 6 months. And as far as I can tell, what people really want out of their city is clean, safe, and efficient. That's what they want. They want a clean city, they want a safe city, and they want services provided efficiently. I don't know if that's a Democrat or Republican thing. It's just a thing.
Yep.
And what I've learned from spending my time in City Hall now is that that's an absolutely non-ideological thing. It's about showing up and just doing the work every day. I mean, it's basic stuff you learn in kindergarten. And so I think the next mayor should be the person who is focused on the blocking and tackling of filling potholes, making the streets safe, creating an environment where people can live their lives. And all of the other stuff is utterly extraneous. And I just think local politics don't need to be about national stuff. And I think that the politicians, and we kind of saw this with second term Landrieu, right? When he started getting involved in a lot of the more culture war kind of stuff, it seemed to really dilute his effectiveness, not just his popularity, but his effectiveness here. And so I just hope that the next mayor, whoever he or she is, understands that they can have their politics, they can be however they want to identify, which, by the way, I don't really think Republican and Democrat means what it used to mean. I think we now have two things, establishment and anti-establishment at the national level. But what we're getting credit for with the Super Bowl is filling potholes. That's potholes over politics.
Yep. No, those are good points. Michael Hecht, always a pleasure, brother. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next Friday.
Thank you, boss. Have a great weekend. Stay cool.
Yep, you too. That's Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. joining us on a Friday like he does every Friday. Corey Johnson with you. Thanks so much for joining us as well. Helena Moreno making it official back on Wednesday. She's in the mayor's race. Oliver Thomas, probably in the next few weeks. We had him on the program about a month ago. He was saying like he'll make a decision in early January. I don't think Helena Moreno being in the race or not in the race has anything to do with Oliver Thomas getting in the race. It's not going to influence him one bit. He already kind of knew the score, what's going on. You might have Royce DePlessis, state senator, Arthur Hunter, the judge, jump in the race. Now, Oliver Thomas knows exactly what he wants to do. But it looks like a Helena Moreno versus Oliver Thomas race. And with a city that's 60% black, about 30-something% white, and maybe 6, 7, 8% other, it really boils down to how much of the black vote can Helena Moreno get over Oliver Thomas, and that's the way she gets to City Hall. If everything just sort of falls on demographics, Oliver Thomas is your next mayor. But Helena Moreno, female, Latina, it makes it different. Plus, I mean, very intelligent, entrenched in New Orleans, first as a media member, then as a House rep in Baton Rouge and a council person. It'll be an interesting 2025. All of 25 locally, all of 2025 locally will be the mayor's race. The race is in October, 11 months from now. So once Oliver Thomas gets in there, this thing's just going to take off. Corey Johnson with you, Fantasy Friday edition of the program. You want to stay somewhere special in New Orleans? The Grand Victorian on St. Charles Avenue, on the streetcar line in the Garden District, the ultimate bed and breakfast. They're booked up for Mardi Gras, but they still have rooms available for the Super Bowl, French Quarter Fest, Jazz Fest, Valentine's Day weekend. GVBB.com to book.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home, and right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. Get Audubon Gutters.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Hey, if you're beelining across the causeway, why don't you fire in a to-go order at Trey Yen? Curbside delivery. They walk it right out to your car. It's not Chinese food. It's Chinese cuisine. Trey Yen. Yeah, dine in if you don't want to do the to-go thing. Right at the foot of the causeway, you North Shore folks. South Shore folks, that means 25 minutes from Lakeside Shopping Center. You're at the front door at Trey Yen in Mandeville. So good. I love Trey Yen. Yummy. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. 58 days till Super Bowl 59 at the Caesars Superdome. 58 days, excuse me. Less than 2 months. Still a lot to get accomplished. In the French Quarter, we just visited with Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. Streets and sidewalks, signage, lights, power washing, whole lot of stuff. Homeless, whole lot. Yeah, Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. joining us on the program like he does every Friday. Earlier this week, we kind of know the score, but it's official now. Helena Moreno is running for mayor, city of New Orleans. That election is this October. Oliver Thomas, within the next few weeks, will make his announcement, which is expected to be he will also be running for mayor. Royce Duplessis, the state senator, Arthur Hunter, the judge, they may also jump into the race. I'm sure we'll have a wild card or two. I don't know if it's like a Sidney Torres or a John George's type, but maybe someone like that. Maybe a conservative Republican gets in the race. Who knows? I can tell you this, because the race is 11 months away, it isn't until October, and if necessary, a runoff in November. All of 2025. It's just going to build up every month, January, February, March, just bigger and bigger and bigger, leading to October's election. All of 2025, locally, it's going to be about the mayor's race. Get ready, because it's going to be New Orleans mayor's race, New Orleans mayor's race, New Orleans mayor's race. And obviously, any two candidates are going to be different from each other. but it's not like Republican versus Democrat. But it is black versus white, sadly. And for so many folks, that still means something for black and white folks. What a waste of time. But it's Democrat versus Democrat. Both are pretty liberal. Both are pretty progressive. Both are pretty woke. Talking about Helena Moreno and Oliver Thomas. So, yeah, any two candidates, you're going to have differences. But it's not like one's a staunch conservative and the other's a liberal. It's a couple of liberals, hardcore liberals going at it. Hey, about 6 weeks ago, Audubon Gutters came to my house. Within a few hours, installed brand new gutters featuring the Leaf Guard system. I'll literally never, ever have to clean my gutters again. Audubon Gutters is the Gulf South's largest, most experienced gutter installation company. They don't do paint. They don't do windows. They don't do roofs. They don't do siding. They do gutters and only gutters. Why would you even consider going anywhere else but to Audubon Gutters for your home or business? AudubonGutters.com since 1991. AudubonGutters.com. You did me right. What's that, Blue Boy? Downspouts on either side. Gutters in the front and back of the house, a lot less puddling in the driveway and the like. So when you got to go outside to the backyard, you're not getting all wet on the paws. I hear you, buddy. Positive stuff about Audubon Gutters. Thank you, Blue. Hey, New Orleans, have a great weekend. See you Monday, straight up 4 o'clock.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.